Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news.
Kaya always tune in. Feel our radio every Tuesday, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio App.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
Do you want to reach out to the Vietnamese community in Seattle? Just advertise in Le Viet Tây Bắc, that is Northwest Vietnamese News, the longest running Vietnamese language newspaper in our region. Go to nvnorthwest.com.
Wow, it's Traffic Jam with Kareem.
Thursday at 4 p.m.
Hey, Traffic Jam. Rainier Avenue Radio, download the app so you don't miss out what's popping, what's cracking, what's shining. It's your boy, Cream the Dream, on another beautiful week on here on Traffic Jam in Seattle. I hope you guys doing what you're supposed to do, being you're supposed to be. I got a good show for y'all, a lot to talk about. You know, Kareem the Dream, keep up with everything.
Get your entertainment news with Kareem on the Traffic Jam, Thursday at 4 p.m.
Come join the Women in Business Expo Group annual leadership luncheon, April 5th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., where this year our theme is uplifting our next generation. Our amazing keynote speaker will be the one and only Robert Spider Gaines, CEO and co-founder of RSG Foundation. For more information and details, visit wibegluncheon2025.eventbrite.com. Again, that's wibegluncheon2025.eventbrite.com. See y'all there.
Yo, Rainier Avenue Radio. Seattle's best music, talk, and sports.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into Clean Greens Living, broadcasted here live on Rainier Avenue Radio. It is your host, Queen Bree, in the house, or as we say here on Rainier Avenue Radio, Queen B. Oh my God, you guys, somebody had the nerve to question me about the bee and the honey process and did not accept my answer. Do they not know that I'm the queen? Like, excuse me, what? But anyways, let me not even go there because we have a packed show and an exciting guest on. So let me just do this intro and get on with it. But I'm glad that post is there so it can remind me who the real queen is. Besides the bees, of course. So I'm excited to announce that we are open up for our CSA. So if you want a CSA, community supported agriculture, that means that you pay us to grow your produce, and when farming season is in season, you pick up your produce for 16 weeks. Majority of the times it's longer than 16 weeks because the weather and God provides. So you buy a CSA, you help feed a family, and then God provides the rest. We did a seed planting party this Saturday. I'm trying to say it right. Seeding. Some people say seeding, seed starting, seedlings. We put some seeds in some dirt for y'all, okay? We started the process. It was fun. It was my first time starting right from the beginning. Usually I come in when they're little starts and we're putting them in the ground. This time I came in to seed. It was fun. We will be doing it. We did it in Duval. We are going to be doing a seeding party in Seattle in 2 weeks. So stay tuned for those dates. And we'll do another party for second in your calendars because we want to do a seating party here in the city with everyone. It is fun. You guys, I graduated. I forgot to send Daniel the video. I didn't even post it yet, but I graduated. Farmer now. What? It's been 5 years since I've been here. And Tom finally said I was dressed for the farming job. So I am a farmer. Okay. Question of the day. What is your go-to you like you do the lips? That's it. I'm like, put those lips back up, but I can't help it. But now, when back that thing up comes on, the go-to dance moves is twerking. Oh my God. Yes, I twerk. And yes, I'm a minister. It's called balance. Okay. I mean, that song is just, I can't help it. But anyways, so those are my go-to dance moves. And you got to do a little shaky shake. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm excited to have our guest on today. It is so fitting. And when we were planning this, it wasn't planned like this, but it came out like this. And I love it because one, it is Women's History Month. And what way to have this guest on to honor a woman that means a lot to us. Also, their birthdays, they share the same birthdays this week. I feel like this was meant and cosmic, and this is when I really know that our ancestors still be like shining down on us, and just being there and aligning things in the way that they're supposed to be. So I'm super excited to have on our show today, Briaan. Yes, her name is also Briaan. Briaan, I can't pronounce Bannon, right? Barron, sorry. And I've known her since she was a baby, sorry. But if it makes her feel better, people still call me the wrong name and think Margaret is my mom and Annette is. Anyways, so welcome on Briaan Barron on. She is the CEO and owner of Branding by Bree, and she is also the granddaughter to our very own Clean Greens director before me, Lottie Cross. So welcome on, Briaan.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too.
And it's like when I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, gosh, if Lottie could see us
I know
right
she
now. She can. Like I remember when she was alive and we were helping out different, like we didn't help out together, but like different things. And I just remember her not wanting to put too much on me because, I had kids and stuff, but I was like, I'm here, I'm helping. But I'm just happy that we're able to like come together and just still share her legacy. And then even with what you're doing, that's legacy. Absolutely. So why don't you tell the show a little bit about, because I could talk about Lottie from my perspective, and I've shared it before in the show, like she's the only grown up when I was going to New Hope that really, I felt seen by her. Like, I'm a part of the pastor's family. I'm not an immediate family of the pastor, but I am his family. So where everybody was paying attention to the pastor and his family, she was like, she cared about how I felt and what I wanted and what was my favorite food. And from then on, I was just in love with the whole family. Yes. And she's my baby's godmom. So, and she took care of them. She would think she's not doing a lot. And I'm like, girl, you don't even know you coming in for the plug when I needed it. And I was too proud to ask for help. So that's
I love to hear that.
That's my memory. Sorry, I wasn't even gonna give a memory. I was gonna let you, but I was like, I can't.
I love hearing your memory.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I love to hear that, and it means a lot to me to be here today because Clean Greens is such a significant part of her legacy and what she really dedicated her life to for the latter part of her life. And so I appreciate you in just continuing this work because it meant so much to her. And it means so much to so many people. I don't know if you know this or not, but I actually got involved in branding because of my grandma and Clean Green. She was my first client for branding when I was 17 years old, and Clean Greens was first coming into fruition, and she asked me to sketch out the first version of the logo. So the logo that we see today with the hands and the plants, I remember being 17 sketching that out.
I love that.
At her house. She asked me to design a logo for this organization. So yeah, it means a lot to me to be here.
Nice. And it's a weird position for me to be in because I know a lot of people, they like to compare me to her. And I'm like, y'all don't know, me and Lottie loved each other. You cannot use Lottie as a cuss word. The only reason why I'm here is because of Lottie. A couple of years ago, you would not have caught me in the dirt.
Right.
But now I'm in the dirt and I'm liking it and I'm loving it. And it's all to keep, she worked so hard to keep that mission going and keep that, like, there's an email that I was able to read of her. Like, she still speaks to us. Like, there's an email when I first came on that I read of hers and where she wanted Clean Greens to go. And so
I love
that is the goal, is to continue that mission. And then, okay, sorry, I'm all excited to have you here. And I'm just like,
let's get into it.
I looked and okay, the last thing about Lottie, just love her. I was like, it has been 5 long years and I cannot believe it.
I know.
I still pretend like it's never happened.
I know.
Until I go to church and they're like, damn, she's not here. So if you're listening and you are a lover of Lottie, just like us, and it's weird, I'm saying Lottie, I feel disrespectful. God Lottie. In our family, we call her God Lottie because my eldest couldn't say God Mom Lottie. So she just said God Lottie. And so from then on,
That's so cute.
that's what all of us called her, God Lottie. If you have any memories of her, please feel free to share. So, okay, so that's nice. You got into branding.
Yes.
By look, I was gonna say by God Mom, but by your grandma.
Yes.
So tell us about your business and what you do.
Absolutely. So I'm a brand strategist and designer. I do brand and marketing strategy for organizations and businesses, as well as people, leaders, executive leaders. I've been working in branding and marketing, doing design and strategy, well, since I was 17. So that's been 17 years now, actually. But more formally, for about 11 or 12 years now. I got involved in branding because I was very interested in understanding, like, how do people learn or develop their values? How do people decide what to buy, what to support? You know, what are kind of the mass communication systems that teach us like what to do and how to live and that influence our choices? And marketing and advertising fascinated me because of that history of just being like this institution that tells people what to pay attention to, where to give their attention, which is such valuable currency. And I learned that, you know, there's not a lot of visibility for underrepresented folks like myself, women, since we're in Women's History Month, I think that's important to emphasize, but also Black folks, people of color in these decision-making centers where this massive influence is being created. And that fascinated me. And so I wanted to learn about that. I was very self-taught, very self-educated. I went to a great college, but I didn't do my formal degree in marketing or business. So I really just gathered information through experience and through self-study. And so now I've been doing that for over 10 years and I love it. I have a unique approach to it that I've been able to impact a lot of people with. And I enjoy it.
Nice. It's so weird to hear you say 10, 15 years.
I know.
It's like, she was just a baby. It's like, I feel like you just graduated.
Yes.
It's like, time does not play.
It
Okay.
really
Goodness gracious, 10 to 15 years. Good
Yes.
Lord. Okay. So you work with individuals. What is it that people, why is branding, you kind of said why branding is important, but when you meet with people, what do you guys talk about? Like, how do you get, it's like, I guess you could talk, like, for me, wonder, like, I stay rebranding my dang on self, trying to figure that out. How do you work with your people to help them get something that they're comfortable with? And like, what's the first start, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great question with personal branding in particular. And throughout my career, I've really worked with what I call self-made powerhouses or hidden powerhouses. These are people that have something of value to offer, but maybe had an offbeat path to leadership, or maybe didn't have kind of the traditional support systems that a lot of people have. So you're like a self-taught entrepreneur, or you have an idea and nobody around you has done something like it before. So you're figuring it out yourself. Those are the folks that I work with, because if you have a unique value offer, then you need to find a unique way to package that and present that to your target audience. So when I'm working with somebody on personal branding, I think a mistake that people often make, or a misconception they have about branding, is they start from the outside in. They start with, okay, what does my logo need to look like? Or what kind of photos do I need to take? Or what words do I need to use to describe what I do? But if you're really going to build a personal brand with long-term staying power that people know without you having to say it, then you have to start with who you are and have been for most of your life. So the root to personal branding is self-awareness and self-concept. And I think people skip steps and they try to, get to the business-minded part of it without understanding what are the things that your immediate circle come to you for repeatedly. Like, what can people rely on you for? Where have you built up skill? And then where are your curiosities? So I think it starts with knowing yourself and getting into a habit of trying to look at yourself from the outside looking in. And that's not easy for everybody to do. So as a personal branding coach, that's where I can be really helpful. So I have people tell me their story from their own vantage point. Talk to me about the key moments in your life that were turning points in your life and why. And as I'm listening to them tell their story, I'm able to say, okay, so what I hear is that you value this. This is a personality trait of yours. This is a key interest of yours. That's when you start to understand what somebody's brand is. And if you don't have a personal branding coach and you're trying to do that on your own, you start by asking the people that love you and know you. Ask your friends, ask your family, what comes to mind when you think of me? And it reveals so much about the things we take for granted about ourselves. And any strong personal brand is typically when you learn to amplify the things that you take for granted about yourself that everybody else values.
Nice. And I love how you said the story about who you are. And it is hard for people. It's hard for me to talk about myself.
Yes.
In a good light.
Yes.
Because you're always like in this world, we're always taught to be so humble and,
right.
you know, be grateful for what you have. But you do have to talk about it just to
Yes.
remind yourself, but also with branding. And I love how you say, because people do, like when I first got it started and just what I mean, not even get started. It's like knowing what it was for me to
Yes.
do. It was the start of going outward, looking in, but it wasn't working for me. And so then I had to stop. And I don't have a coach, but I will after this. Okay. But it's like, it started to be, for me, it started to feel what feels good inside. And so I love how you said you have to start inside and go out and then you figure that out. Absolutely. And then, I'm here, y'all. I if you guys have any questions for Bree, please ask, because I'm going to ask questions that I could think of off the top of my head. So, and like things that I go through, right? So it's like, if you have someone who has multiple talents,
yes,
how do you brand that?
Yeah, that's a very, very common question, especially these days, but one thing that I think is important to know is that the benefit of technology and social media is that if you're active on social media, you have multiple opportunities to tell your story. It's not like it was back in the day where in order to have a public platform, you had to be signed to a label or work for a major company or have somebody else platform you. Back in the day, your whole platform was controlled by some other system or person. Now, because of social media, you don't have to convey everything at once, right? And so I think that what's important for people to understand if they're building a personal brand intentionally for the first time is that once you have the self-awareness to know these are the things that I have to offer, and you know what those are, you have them written down or what have you, then you have to create a roadmap for your audience. It means that let's say you post on Instagram to raise awareness about your brand. Each individual post doesn't have to tell your whole story. But if you can think about a series of posts that eventually convey, I'm interested in this, and that, then you can put out that story in a series of 4 to 5 videos, for instance. The beauty of being able to spread awareness about your brand in that way is that audiences are diverse and vast. You never know what somebody's going to latch onto about you. So it's actually it's a benefit to have multiple interests and things that could connect people. So when you're first starting, it's about experimenting with that. Yeah. I think the way to do that cohesively to where you're not confusing people is to understand, okay, if I had to condense myself down to one key value statement, and I wanted people to understand one thing about me, even if they took nothing else, what is that? Once you know what that answer is, you can include that in your caption every time. In case you're new here, my name is so-and-so, I do A, B, and C. That way, even if they don't resonate with that one piece of content, then they know something about you, they can go look for more information at your website or on your social profiles or whatever. So I think what's important for people who are multifaceted to understand is that you need to be a tour guide for people through your brand. They don't need to see every room of the house at the same time, but you can have different touch points, different types of content to drive them through that experience with you.
Oh, girl, you said they don't need to be in every room in the house. And I know that was a metaphor, but that hit home. Like,
I think it's helpful to think
that
that
is helpful.
Yeah.
And I love, like, because I look, having a hard time speaking about myself, but there are a lot of interests that I love. Like, I'm a life coach. I'm director of Clean Greens, and I sell Mary Kay. I love it, and I love getting dressed up. And it took me a minute to realize that all of those are the same thing. And like, it's a person, it's who you are, right?
Yes.
And so that, for me, I just wanted to share that confirmed what I was feeling.
Absolutely.
And thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And I love people, how can you like, I know I read a book, so I understand the importance of having a team of people, because sometimes people can get so proud of, like, I don't want to reach out for nobody for help. I want it to just be my stuff, my thing. How do you explain to people the importance? Because branding is important, especially when you're out there, even if you're selling muffins, branding is important. How do you explain that and cross that over to people that it's important?
Yeah, I like to say that I see personal branding as career insurance. And the reason that I say that is because I think some people think that personal branding is for content creators, influencers, people who are trying to like monetize themselves as the brand. And it's for those folks too. But even if you're employed in an organization, even if you do have a more traditional path, the reason personal branding is career insurance is because it's an opportunity for people to learn who you are outside of your connection to any institution or role or particular like thing you're trying to sell at the moment.
Yeah.
So even if you're an entrepreneur, having a personal brand is beneficial because it takes your platform out of a transactional context. Whether you're selling something or not at the moment, people are connected to you because they care about you. And so when you are in a traditional career path, it's career insurance because anything could happen in your role. You know, let's say that your job changed, you're laid off, what have you. If you have a personal brand established, it's likely that you have a network of people outside of your role who know something that you're about, that you stand for, who can like put in a good word for you. That's what personal branding helps you do. And so personal branding is about packaging and presenting the value you have to offer, which you can do in any status or role in life. I think it's particularly important for women and women of color and Black women because of all of the context in our lived experience where we tend to be underestimated, undervalued, under-resourced, under-supported.
Yep.
Personal branding allows you to advocate for yourself more easily. Because basically what it is making sure that somebody understands without you having to say anything, what you have to offer. So branding is repeating yourself until you don't have to anymore. And I'll give myself as an example. I've been running Branding by Bree off and on since 2012 and you know, part-time, full-time now. Over that time, especially over the past few years, my clientele comes from word of mouth referrals. My clientele comes from people knowing my reputation. It doesn't come from active sales and having to invest in advertising and things like that. So personal branding is that vehicle for you to have to do less work to get more opportunities.
Nice. And I love that you said that because people always think you have to work and do all this. Like I was one of them, honestly.
Yeah.
That you have to work and do all this. And it's like, no, you guys, reading is fundamental.
Yes.
Read. Because it wasn't until I started reading books about businesses where I realized it's like, no, you need to rest. You need to back off.
Yes.
You need to have a support team. Like I just read The Who, Not the How. And it talked about like, you can have an idea, but you still need a team to help you get that idea out.
Absolutely.
And I think that comes true with branding. Like, you have someone who, like when we first came on and we were talking about like our recordings and how we record and we got to edit and we got to do all this stuff. And we were like, yeah, you need someone because it can become a lot. And just really quick before we finish, I want to acknowledge, hey, Dick and Janet. She said Miss Lottie is the only person on the planet she would get up before daylight to go to the farm. And I am not. She said I am far, far from a morning person. And she said, happy birthday to you. Yes, on the 20th, it will be Bree. It's so beautiful. She shares a birthday with her grandma. So on the 20th, March 20th, it'll be their birthday.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, honey. I mean, Lottie is the only reason why I stepped to the plate because I was like, you watch someone branding work so hard for something and you don't want that to go to the wayside.
Yes. And I want to touch on that too, because I like to think of my grandmother as such a great example of personal branding without trying.
Yes.
And because certainly it was never her intention to be the spotlight, but her brand was strong in the sense that one, she was not afraid to repeat herself about what she cared about, what she was passionate about, and she was not afraid to ask for help. And that is something that's important. But I think I love this comment that she was the only person on the planet I go to the farm before daylight, because you have to embody what your brand represents before you ask for anything in exchange for it. And that's why I say that it starts with the self-work and self-awareness, because people know my grandmother because of the service and character she embodied. And that's why her brand made a difference at the end of the day. So
and her brand is still branding.
And it is still branding.
It is
that
still
is what a great brand.
Yeah, like when I go into meetings and when I go into room, there is one or two people there that has a story about her.
And that's amazing.
Yes. And I love hearing it. And it makes me feel all the feels inside.
Yeah,
like, dang. And then, but it also makes me feel like, dang, she was this big personality. She was like humble in it.
Yeah.
but she made everybody feel so seen and special.
Yes. Yes.
So when you were talking about branding, I was like, that was Lottie. It's like,
yes,
she embodied everything.
absolutely.
I loved it. What is one piece of advice that your grandmother gave to you that sits with you right now?
Ooh. Okay, so, and this wasn't even intended to be like advice, but I remember it specifically one day. I was having a bad day. I was a kid in school or something, so tripping over something. And she just said, you better figure out how to get happy. And it wasn't like, oh, you need to get happy because you need to stop having an attitude. She said it with a smile on her face.
Yeah.
But it stood out to me because she taught me that ultimately you have control over your mood. You may not have control over everything around you, but you can figure out a way to get happy. And it stood out to me because it was second nature to her, but it made me reflect on my experience of her overall. And I rarely saw my grandmother in a bad mood or complaining about something. And that is a part of what her brand was as well. It was just her spirit and demeanor when you encounter her. But I like that piece of advice because it's a constant reminder that like you must maintain control over how you decide to show up, react, present, you know, even in the moments when it seems like there's a lot of factors working against you.
Nice. That's a good piece of advice. Before we leave, how can people work with you? Where can they find you?
Yes, I have a couple of exciting things to share. In general, you all can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram at Branding by Bree. Bree is spelled B-R-I. Branding by Bree, no underscores on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok at Branding_by Bree. My website is by-bree.com. All of that you can find in my link and bio on Instagram though. Right now through Branding by Bree, I do work with a very select roster of clients on personal brand coaching. I do bundles of 3 or 6 45-minute sessions. I don't do individual sessions because with my philosophy, we're not going to get nothing done in one session. So it is going to be a commitment, but I have a lot of information about that available on my site. I also do brand and website design for businesses and individuals through Branding by Bree as well. But 2 things I'm excited to share. I'm excited in 2025 and beyond to be able to scale my impact with my branding knowledge. So one is a new company called High Frequency. I'm doing that in partnership with the co-founders, Rome Green and Cameron Miller. They are veteran YouTube creators, content creators for the past 17 years. We are creating an online training program and membership community for entrepreneurial creators. So if you have a podcast in mind, a web series, you just want to build your brand on social media, we're creating a membership community for that. That's going to launch this summer. We will be at Langston on April 25th at an event called The Ripple Effect. You can meet all of us there to learn about that, as well as just in general talk about how to make waves in new media as a creator. So that's one way to definitely keep an eye out for. I'll be sharing more information about that on my Instagram. And another way that I'm going to bring this information to you all is through an event that I'll be hosting in 2026. I'll be announcing more about that on my Instagram later this week. So stay tuned.
And honey, just like your grandmother, she be so quiet, but this girl is powerful. Okay. She be doing the moves. She be so quiet, but you be seeing the video. You be seeing the work.
We working.
And you working hard and doing good. Well, Bree, thank you. That is time. Thank you for coming. I'm so excited for what's to come. I will be following and stalking and maybe signing up if you have space for little old me. But no, this was information that we needed to know just in this world, in this climate, because I'm always constantly talking about people, like even with contracts, like it's contracts are so important, but people don't understand. Oh, we're small, we're just starting out. It's like, no.
And that's a whole thing that we need to talk about.
Right. So that means hopefully you'll be back.
I would love to.
Yay. All right. Thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.